think you're just waiting on Christy. I did also invite Mr. Stein.
Okay. All right, I'm trying to open files here in preparation.
We have quite a few of them this evening.
Yeah,
Hey, guys.
everybody's working very hard.
Yes, we are.
Okay, the water clerk is gonna come first. But are those proposals for, are you gonna discuss that at the water clerk report, the proposals for changes in, oh, no, that's on the financials. Okay, no, you don't, I don't have a question. I see it now.
All right, Christy's coming in.
Hi, Christy.
Hi,
Okay, well, the gang's all here.
Hi, Christy.
hi.
We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Until further notice, the Corporation of Harpers Ferry's governing and deliberative bodies will hold meetings and/or hearings virtually via Zoom webinar, which provides for public participation during a public comment period when applicable and when posted on the agenda. Alternatively, the public may watch meetings by YouTube video live stream or listen by telephone. These options comply with the Open Governmental Meetings Act. Okay, and first order of business is to approve the minutes from 9/15/2021. I didn't see those. Were they circulated?
No, I don't think they've been written yet. I think that's why Deb sent us the recording.
Okay. All right. Well, we will not be approving the 9:15 minutes this evening. Our next regular meeting is November 17th, 2021. And I have two items. One.
Wait.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say that I'm not doing the minutes for the meeting when I'm not there.
Okay.
That's okay.
Fair enough. We'll get that figured out. We have a recording, so we can do that. I wanted to remind everyone for all of our communication, in particular with outside vendors and entities, that we use the Water Commission at Harpers Ferry wv.us. We have, I think compliance with that has been pretty good. A lot of people have been, I mean, I've seen it most of the time on our correspondence. And I wanted to let everyone know on, I want to say whatever the 14th was, I think it was Thursday. I met with a couple of representatives of West Virginia American Water. And they, of course, have an interest in seeing what they can do for us. They contacted the mayor. The mayor said, asked if I would meet with them. And I did, and they were very friendly. I don't think we're at a point where we would be looking at allowing ourselves to be purchased, which is essentially what they do. But I thought we would at least, meet with them and hear them out. They were very complimentary of our system.
I have a question. This came up long ago when I was on the Water Commission back before you and back before Laurel.
Yep.
And I really don't think we should be meeting with them.
I don't
We
have
have
a
no
problem.
interest in selling our system. And they're the ones that had Charlestown totally screwed up for quite a while and lied to their public.
Well, we didn't indicate any interest. I was just friendly and let them tell me about what they did. And I thought, because I knew what they were here for, I figured just turning them away cold would be not at least hearing them out and seeing what they offered.
You already
know.
turned him away cold once.
Well, anyway, we did, it was basically a meet and greet. They just told me what they did. And, you know, I told them we were not a distressed utility. We were doing fine. And we were very proud of being municipally owned.
And that
And
we
that was-
serve way cleaner water than they do at Town of Charleston.
Yes. Well, there's all kinds. I mean, I did drop a few of the legal cases that I'd read with respect to them, which kind of got their attention.
Okay, good.
But so, I was able to, you know, we were able to be cordial. And I guess I think about, especially after Chris's trip to the, I guess the convention in Snowshoe, you know, the water community in West Virginia is not all that large. And so I thought, well, we can at least be nice to these guys because we're going to see them again. And, you know, better to give them a friendly no than just be rude, which is what I was tempted to do, you know, because these guys are, they do a lot of things that that our customer base probably wouldn't be terribly interested in. Anyhow, so I just thought I'd let everybody know about that. And we didn't get into nuts and bolts of what they would do in any detail. With that, flip back to my agenda. Angie, are you ready to go with your report?
Yes, sir, I am. Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
Hi. So this past month, for the September billing, which was the August usage, I had 6 customers who actually were terminated due to non-payment. That's kind of a large amount comparatively, but they were all turned back on same day after they came in and paid, except one. I still have one guy off. I do know that he does a lot of travel, so I'm not sure as to whether the property is vacated or if he's just out of town. So my next step will be to reach out to the management property that I know that he leases from. So I will be doing that this week to check up on him. Let's see. There were no billing inserts for this past month. However, for those who may not be aware, I did put on every bill that was sent out that we do have a change in office hours. So the office is actually closed to folks coming in on Fridays. I am still working and answering emails and returning phone calls and accepting payments over the phone and that sort of thing. Just the lobby itself, I guess you can call it a lobby, the office, is not open on Fridays at this time. So I don't really consider that an insert, but I do consider it, you know, being something that I want to make all of my customers aware of. One thing that I sent you guys this month was, and I absolutely love the Water Commission email, the cumulative email, because I find that to be a great place to send things, and I get a lot of response from folks. So I sent our very first kind of official standard operating procedures packet to everyone. Me and Chris Dyer, superintendent, and Chris Spanos, construction foreman, worked on all of these. I made changes as people instructed. And so this is our very beginning bare bones of SOPs, as we refer to them. I am sure we will be adding to them in the future as things come up and things arise. But for now, we do have SOPs for things such as what we do in the case of a leak adjustment, or if a meter is overread or underread, and what we need to do to reread it and investigate, things like that. So I hope all of you all had an opportunity to look at those. Any questions about the SOPs from you all? Do they look good? They look okay?
The ones you sent out, they did. They look good.
Okay,
Deb?
awesome. Very good. Well, like I said, I think this is something that we're probably going to build upon, but I think it's a good foundation.
Deb
It's a
has
great
question.
foundation, really.
Yeah,
You're
good.
muted, Deb.
Oh,
Thank you, forgot about that. I don't necessarily need to look at all of them, but I do have a question regarding the leak adjustment. Is there a threshold for dollar value in terms of approval through various levels of management and the Water Commission, et cetera?
I do not believe that there's a threshold. No, there is a formula that we are given by the Public Service Commission, and that, excuse me, and that we use to determine how much we would alleviate on the customer side as
Oh.
far as,
Yeah.
as
So I
what
remember-
they're
yeah.
required to pay. But we
Okay,
pretty much
so I'm
kind of,
sorry, I'm
eat it.
speaking about the wrong thing. I'm talking about when, and maybe this isn't something that you've covered yet, but when we go to relieve someone of their obligation regarding a high bill or something like that, where we haven't resolved, or we need to resolve where the problem is, and or am I talking about what you're
That-
talking about?
No.
Okay.
No. This is completely different.
Okay.
We do have on the agenda tonight the example in which you are speaking. This is kind of the first time that this has ever really come up in this type of forum. And I'm glad that it's coming up tonight because there are these kinds of issues that have happened in the past, not to this extent, but what you just asked is coming. We're going to talk about it.
Okay, sorry.
But we've never
Sorry
done it
about that.
before. Yeah,
Okay.
no, it's okay. It's all right. Let's see here. The zero usage report. Whew, let me tell y'all the hours that went into that. So I sent it out to everyone. I do have the most updated, which is as of this morning. I didn't send it out to everybody simply because all I did really was, if you look at the Excel spreadsheet, I had 4 highlighted properties that still had work orders that were outstanding. So I wasn't really sure where we stood with those. But today those were all resolved. So those are no longer outstanding. And out of those 4, 3 of them actually came up with usage this past month. And one of them turned up as a broken meter. So they were added to my broken meter list. And I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this, but let me just say that the hours that Sean Vini put in going and checking all of, 70 some odd meters to check and see if they were actually functioning or not was hours and hours and hours worth of work. And if it hadn't been for Superintendent Chris Steyer, we wouldn't even be here, because in the past, zero usages were just like, it's a zero usage, let it go. But we're not letting it go anymore. We want to know why. I've always kind of wanted to know why there was a zero usage. And so I hope that this spreadsheet answers everyone's question. And I'm sure there's probably a couple. What questions do you all have for me as far as the zero usage report?
I have a question.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
The one where the meter's broken, so how are they
Mhm.
charged if the meter's broken?
If the
Oh.
meter is
Go ahead.
if the meter is broken, then they are charged for a minimum usage. That is for 0 up to 2,000 gallons. Sewer is a completely different story, but we're not talking about sewer, we're talking about water. But water, they are charged the base amount from 0 to 2,000 gallons.
And, that's not based on how many people live there or anything. It's just,
Nope.
how many, well, I guess I can look at the spreadsheet, but can you give me a ballpark? How many meters does that apply to?
I calculated that we have total zero usage meters for September was 64, and out of 64, there were 32, and which actually, there 33 just found today, 33 broken meters.
And I'm guessing the reason we don't replace them is
I won't say
because.
32. I'm so sorry. I misread that.
Well,
I missaw it.
That's
I'm
close
blind as
enough.
a bat.
I
I'm
don't
blind
need
as
the
a bat.
exact number.
No, it's only 13. It's
Yeah.
13
Yeah.
broken
Oh,
meters.
13 broken.
Sorry.
meters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry
I-
about that.
I
That's
can
I'm
answer
blind as a
that
bat.
question.
Steyer, I'm all good, baby. Thank you. Yes,
Christie,
I'm
did you
blind
have a
as a bat.
question?
I'm sorry.
Christie, did you have a question?
I did. I was really surprised by 791 East Ridge Street because that was occupied pretty much until Deb Fleming owns that place and her parents lived there for years. And then when they moved down to Florida, then she turned it into I think she had a rental briefly, and then she turned it into a short-term rental or something. But I'm seeing no meter pit, and I gotta tell you, we drove around
Yeah.
there to try to find
Yeah.
the meter pit, and we found no
Yeah.
meter pit.
Yeah.
But is there one of those units that's in the building that you can't see?
Well, I did address this with the superintendent Steyer, and the 4 that I had listed as, or maybe it was 3 that are listed as couldn't be found. We've issued work orders for those because he does believe that they can be, that they're there, just for this work order in time that I had issued to find them.
Yeah.
Sean said he couldn't find them, but we're gonna find them.
Yeah.
They're there. We know they're there. They have to be there.
Just real quick. So 8 years ago or 10 years ago, I take that back. Brandon and I, and before I came here, Brandon hadn't located all the meters because he had a situation where he had to take over the facility and had to literally learn where the meters were. And so it was a process for us to find every meter in town. And when we did, it wasn't like there was a lot that were missing, but there were some. And in the process, we remapped all of the entire system so that it all read to the right. And we put meter locations in every single place and made sure that every meter was accounted for. And the only one that we never found was Nash Farm.
So, but
So
now we
what-
have,
What I'm saying is those meters are out there and I haven't had a chance to investigate why those three
Nash-
meters aren't out there.
Nash Farm's not occupied that I know of.
No, but but a long time ago, there was a meter there.
yeah, the meters inside the fence of the demolished property.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yes.
right. So,
Okay.
are there any other questions about zero reads? Okay.
Well, I was unaware of that. I didn't know that you guys located that.
Well, that's process
Yeah.
of elimination.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I had no idea.
Anyhow, so next order of business is excessive usage on Old Furnace at 239 Old Furnace. Did you have something you wanted to say here, Angie, or?
The only thing I have to say is that I am dumbfounded. I have no idea. I'm looking for some directions from somebody to tell me what to do, because I do not believe that this customer used that amount of water. I mean, I'm not going to say never say never, but I just find it so incredibly hard to believe that was actual usage. I mean, that was an extraordinary amount of water.
So,
Hotels don't use that much water.
yeah, that's an average usage of 4,230 a day. Which, I mean, I'm not suggesting it broke out evenly across the 30 days, but that's a very significant amount of water. Has the meter been replaced yet, Chris?
No, I'll tell you why. Spanos has been out this week, and it's just me and Sean. Sean is reading meters right now, and as soon as I have the availability to get out there to replace it, I will.
Okay, because that's sort of a threshold issue that's the first point of failure we can address, and I think that should have happened in the future if we have something like this. I think that's our first, with circumstances like this, I think that was the first move.
Well, like I said, the first thing that I did was I tested the meter. That's always the first priority.
How do you test? Can you explain how you test the meter?
Okay, I'm the only one certified to test them. And I put it on a bench that tests 10 gallons at 2 gallons per minute. I base it on the percentage. And if it's 100, if it's 2% fast or 2% slow, in other words, if it's 98% or 102%, it's a fail. Okay. Now, I also do a 15 gallon a minute. That's my high and my low. So I do a 15 gallon minute at 10 gallons. And if that measures out to be 2% or 98% or 102%, I take the average of those two, the high and the low, the 2 gallon a minute and the 15 gallon a minute. And if the average again is above 102% or below 98%, it fails.
Okay,
This meter was at 100.5%, I believe.
right. Yeah, you told us
So
that
it
part.
passed.
So you pull this meter out, you take it up to the shop, and you put it on a test bench.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I guess the next question is, when we look at, and this was one of the concerns I had, that volume of water across a single month is like we had 30 average households spring up in our distribution network for the month of September. So I would have expected to be able to look at our production numbers versus, the treated, sold, pump,
Mhm.
all that, and see at least some kind of an anomaly in the numbers that suggested what happened to that water. If we did indeed provide that water, or if because if the meter's screwed up and it's reading really high, then we would not have that amount would not be reflected, in our numbers. Am I wrong there, Chris?
Well, again, the only issue is I record between from 1 to 30. So my operations are in the month period. The billing cycle is between the 20th to the 20th, basically. So what could have happened, and probably did, is that part of the bill could be on one and part of it could be on the other, and it could have lessened the load as far as my percentages, and that's why you may not see a reflection. I don't have an answer, but 120,000, isn't going to be a whole lot of variable that I'm aware of. But if it's like only 60,000 or something like that, if that's what happened, I really can't tell you. What I may notice is next month that change. The only problem with that is I will also have Church Street's major leak on there as well. So I should see a reflection on Church, and my percentage should go up.
Okay, so I guess
Go ahead. Go ahead.
if we built 30 houses and added 30 new customers, would that be noticeable in your water production? Do you think? I mean, I would expect this to be noticeable.
Yeah, well,
even if it's broken out across two months, it's still, that's math, and we should be able to at least notice the difference and rule out the other things, like we had a leak, so that's probably, I mean, it's not going to be an exact thing, but I would have thought, almost 130,000 gallons might kind of show up. Because what we're trying to do here, Chris, is we're trying to determine if this woman left her bathtub running for 24 days straight, or, we don't have a flood, right? Her property and her basement aren't underwater. We have spoken to this woman, right?
Her meter's underwater continuously. It's in a floodplain. It's like in an area where the ground doesn't perk.
Correct. And because it doesn't perk, if this were a leak, either under the foundation or if she'd left a garden hose on, then her property would be submerged and it would be running down the hill to the people below her, and we'd have heard about it. So if we don't have a lake where her house is supposed to be, and her basement's not a swimming pool, this water had to go somewhere. And, if you ran your hose out with this volume over the course of a month, it would be noticeable.
I have to tell you, there's a place on Downing Street, on the bottom of Downing Street, kind of near where, right, the first house is getting all the work done to it. And there is a hole in the ground right off of Downing Street where that amazing amount of rainwater pours down that hole and disappears. So you could have the exact same thing on that property.
Right.
And there's no explanation for where the water's going.
Yeah, because we live in the karst area, the water disappears as soon as it comes out. And that's one of the reasons we've had such a hard time finding leaks when we suspect there is one. I mean, it's because of that. But I wanted to throw something in here, which is that I saw some emails about this radio read meter. So apparently one company has offered for us to use it to just as a trial basis.
Mhm.
And so I called some other utilities to see if they did that kind of thing. And because I understand we are trying very hard not to show any favoritism to any one company. But I just on my lunch hour. I called Shepherdstown and I called Boonesboro. So Shepherdstown talked to Charles Coe, who's the chief water operator. You know, they've had radio reads for since like 2014. They did try a meter before they made a decision, and they basically, what I was hearing from him and from Amanda in Boonesboro was that they demo things on a regular basis. Amanda said they just demoed a new, even though they've had radio read meters, they just demoed a new meter that measured inflow and outflow. She said it had a name. She couldn't remember the name of it, some special kind of meter. And so this is like a frequent thing to demo meters, that they don't feel like they're showing favoritism. They're just, okay, we'll demo it, we'll see it, they'll give us some data, and but it's not, and so I've changed my viewpoint about it. I feel that it's all right to use to demo a meter, a radio read meter. I know we cannot read the meter. We have to rely on the company to provide the data, but I don't feel like it would be viewed. I think it is a normal operation from talking to these people. And I'll mention one more thing, which is that Amanda says, it sounds like they use Kuzi, because she told me that Kuzi is who they call when they have a problem with the software. And although she called the software UMS, Utility Management System, she didn't call it Kuzi, but she said she calls Kuzi when there's anything to do with that. So I mean, that's very interesting that we might have something as close as Boonesboro that uses Kuzi. So anyway, I wanted to support, Chris Steyer had a suggestion that we use that for this, and I'm also in favor of it, to give us some data on what's happening at that meter.
Were these demos in the context of anticipating a competitive bidding operation for the entire town to be replaced with meters, or is this just salesperson happened to be in town, dropped them off a meter when they weren't planning on redoing their whole system? Like, context is important here from a public bidding standpoint. And in our situation, we've entertained.
Well, I
these
agree.
folks,
Context
and
is
so-
important. I think is what Amanda said, that they just demoed this inflow outflow meter, whatever it was. She didn't have the exact name of it. That was just, okay, we just demoed it like it was the most ordinary thing in the world. That they, you know, obviously if they demoed it, they're possibly interested in buying it. So I didn't ask, are you getting ready to do a big major bidding thing?
Well, that's the probably most salient fact from a competitive bidding legality standpoint.
Well, you know, we're not about to do this bidding project. We're not about to do it. We've been gathering data, but we are not, I mean, we are about to do the bidding for the 8-inch main, but I'm not sure how far away that's going to be. I mean, we have been gathering data, but I don't see anything happening just immediately. Whereas we have a need to find out what's happening at that property, and we have a willing meter to put there. And I don't feel like it's showing favoritism. Places, I mean, I think, Bill, if you had talked to Amanda or Charles Coe over at Shepherdstown, you would have seen they view this as an ordinary thing to do.
Well, it is an ordinary thing to do, but not when you're working on preparing an RFP for 4 vendors.
Actually, I can see that as an ordinary thing to do when you're working to prepare an RFP, actually.
Well, if we opened it to all of the people we're gonna, you know, I mean.
And I did talk to through other vendors and told them exactly that, and they agreed to that as well.
Well, I mean, I appreciate your comments, Laurel. I think that this is a bit of a red herring in this particular situation, in that, you know, the kind of water loss we're looking at, we don't require the precision, or, I mean, whether we lost 8,000 one day and, you know, 2,000 the next day isn't really, I mean, this is a massive quantity of water.
I think it is. I think it is, Bill. If the data shows that she lost water at 2 o'clock in the evening while she is in Kansas, then there's a problem. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this
kind of
meter has the
numbers, Chris,
capability of telling us what exactly when the water's being used.
with these kind of numbers, Chris, I don't see any utility in that. You can see that with a mechanical meter will tell you the
But
same thing.
all I'm doing is replacing, with your idea, all I'm doing is replacing the exact meter with the exact meter and expecting different results. And I don't see that happening.
Bill,
No,
Bill,
Chris.
this meter tells you what time of day it's losing water, for crying out loud. You're the one that was really interested in customer service. I can't tell you how this would help on customer service. And she's going to tell everybody she knows. I talked to her neighbor to ask, have you had any water on your property? No, he has not. He's the one that's downhill from it. So it's
Correct.
like, come on, you wanted customer service. This is a wonderful time to get some customer service.
Well, again, we haven't purchased the meter. We're not paying for the service to read it. I think it's problematic in the context of a public bidding.
Well, I don't.
Okay,
Well, can I make a motion?
sure.
I'd like to make a motion that we support Chris Dyer's idea to take this radio meter on this property so that we can it's because it's no cost to us. And so that we can see what's going on at this property as far as the water use or water usage. And that's my motion.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Nay. All right, motion carries.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Laurel.
Okay, and that's, do we have any other direction as to how we're gonna solve this problem, Chris? Or is it?
I really, you know, this is all new to me too, Bill. And I'm very curious how it's gonna work, you know? This meter's sitting right here on my desk and has been for the last 3 months. It is activated and ready to go. And I would love to give it a try.
Angie,
Yes, so with that said, being the face of, well, I wouldn't say face, the first contact for customer service, I really want to get on this as quick as possible. So Steyer, with you being at the plant, because you have to be, and Sean being the one and only operator that's actually out reading meters right now, 800 plus, I might add, who's going to install it and when? What's the time frame I can tell my customer?
Tomorrow.
'Cause she's on pins and needles. As me, I'm on pins and needles.
Tomorrow, tonight I'm working until 10 o'clock. I'm putting in a 15-hour day. We're at 15. We started the week at 15 feet, the lowest that we've been all year. And I'm now up to, as of 5 o'clock, I'm up to 20 feet. I should be up to 22 feet. I'm past the danger zone that I was concerned about. So I can put the plant, I can turn the plant off for the half hour to an hour that it's going to take me in the process of going over there and installing the meter and coming back and getting the plant back in operation. What I've been concerned all week is that I've been low and I'm back to safety levels.
So if you install it tomorrow, when will we start collecting data?
The moment that it's put in the ground, it will record up to 3 months at a time. So the next time that we read it, so we'll take a reading tomorrow. We'll treat it as a change out meter, a new meter, and you'll get the reading, the test date, just like in the meter ID, just like a standard meter. And we'll have the reading next reading cycle, and we'll be able to tell immediately if there's a problem this month. Will
it come with an alert? Let's say, for example, if she uses 6,000 gallons in one day,
Well,
will it alert us to that at this point?
No. But what it will do is if we have 20,000 gallons or 6,000 gallons or 15,000 gallons, we can opt to pull the meter or have them come and they said that they will download the data right there. So
how are you going to know when? Because are they going to come and read it every day, or are they going to come read it at the end of the month?
No. What's nice about it is that they can pretty much come at their leisure, because again we have a 3-month window. It records all the data every 15 minutes, I believe it is. I
guess the question is how is this useful to us if we can't monitor that data until after the fact?
Because
I mean, we'll know what day it came out.
I will have all the data of the entire month for every hour of every 15 minutes for everything that happened in that month. And if there was a high usage and we need to pull it, then we'll be able to know when that high usage happened. We'll be able to know exactly what
But we won't
time,
know
what
for
date.
a month.
So what you're saying is,
yeah, but I'll be able to tell you the day it happened, at what hour it happened, and
okay,
yes.
so comparing the two things, if we leave the meter that's there, we only find out, I mean, we can go look at it every day.
Right.
Yeah,
But you're
yes.
saying with this, we get a very detailed report of the entire month. But
Exactly.
is it true we cannot go look at it until?
Well, you
I
can
mean,
go
can you
look
still
at
see
it.
it visibly? Can you go?
I can. Yeah, it physically. Yeah,
You can read it like a normal meter.
Yeah,
You can still read it. It's just that it's gonna, the 15-minute stuff would come in a data file after a month. Okay, so we can still read it every day if we want to. Is
yeah,
that right?
yeah. It reads all the way down. Do you see the 513? So that is actually 0.513. So it reads all the way down to the thousandths of a gallon.
Yeah, okay. That's what I wanted to know. So basically, if we want to still go look at it every day and see how much usage, we can still do that, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
It's just that
It can
you
be
just got
checked
the
every
snapshot.
single day. Yes.
thank you. I see.
Is that something we're going to do for this customer? Are we going to check her meter every single day?
We can do that. Yes, we can.
Well, I mean,
Why not?
The advantage of the radio read meter in a case like this, once we have a radio read system, is that we can be alerted to excessive use in real time,
Right.
which is the real advantage of the radio read in this scenario. I mean, it's good to satisfy our curiosity, but when you have a leak of this magnitude, you know, the timing This isn't gonna be like, oh, your water softener runs every night at 2 a.m.
Well,
Water softener would not be able to do this to a customer.
I
So-
disagree, Bill. I disagree. I had a situation in Berkeley County where it was an excessive amount of water. The guy actually had a crate where he had set up bags of salt. I didn't understand why he had this problem, and the thing was overgenerated.
Well, correct.
And it was a huge amount of water.
But a residential water softener does not have the ability to, even if it's free flowing, does not have the ability to move 4,200 gallons a day. It does
Well,
not.
I can tell you that I was told by Rod over at Senses that he says that a leaky toilet can do that.
Okay, you know what, guys, I want to just suggest, if it's okay with everybody, we've decided to do this and we'll try it. We're also going to read the meter every day. I think that are we really done with this? We could maybe move further
Yes.
questions to outside the meeting,
Yes.
Sure.
or do you think there's more to discuss? I don't want to cut off discussion if people really want to talk, but we have so much on the agenda.
Well,
What do you
I mean,
think?
both Angie and Chris requested that we, discuss this. And so if there's other issues anybody else has to raise regarding this, we can entertain them. Otherwise, we can move on. Yes, Angie.
So in the meantime, my customer has a $4,035 water bill. Now, that's not all water, that also is sewer. What do y'all want me to do?
I would say let's wait until we get the results of this test, that we need more data to see why it's happening and see whether, would that be all right? Do we do that? Just basically.
This is what Debbie was asking about. I think this is what Debbie was kind of referring to is what do we do with this? I mean, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, this is perfect timing too, because we're actually reading the meter right now. So if I put it in tomorrow, it will be an exact month. You know what I'm saying? So
Next month will be an exact month.
exact month, exactly.
So I guess the question is once we do determine this, how are we going to decide how much she pays or doesn't pay? And when we do a refund like that or a discount like that, if we do one, at what amount requires somebody's approval other than Chris's?
Can we wait to discuss that until the next meeting when we got some answers? Because we might just be spinning wheels on this answer. If this turns out the meter shows that it had nothing to do with her water usage, I don't want to, these meetings are long enough without talking about crap that we can talk about at the next meeting.
Yeah, I think so, because I agree with you, Christy, because, I do believe we are not going to be able to settle this in a meeting. It should be like a few people should, first of all, we do need to get more data on this. And then at that point, we can, a smaller group of people can talk about it and bring some recommendations back to the Water Commission about it.
Deb?
Like, that's what I recommend.
Deb?
So I think Angie's still looking for some guidance in terms of like exactly what is she supposed to do with her customer right now? And one suggestion that I would ask is it reasonable to ask her to pay an average usage water bill of her usage over the last 6 or 8 months and call that for this month and say, we're working on this. This is an open-ended situation. And we're working to resolve and we will address it. We'll have to just look at it next month and see what we've got. Does that seem like a reasonable course is there any precedent for that?
You took the words out of my
Yes.
mouth. That's exactly.
Yeah, I think that sounds just right.
That would be reasonable. The catch, I think, with this particular account is that she's got at least 2 months that are also ridiculously large, but nowhere near the scope of this one. She's got a 4,000 month and a 20,000 month. in addition to 130,000 months. So, you know,
What are your thoughts, Angie?
Well,
Are you
Okay.
referring to
Bills
like a year
are
ago,
due.
Bill?
bills are due Friday, close of business. Starting Monday, I put on a 10% penalty. I do not feel comfortable charging this woman
No.
$400.
No.
No.
Okay, just for penalties. Then she will go into termination.
No.
I'm really asking for very, like, this is what we're going to do. We will not charge her penalties. We will
No.
not allow her to go into termination because I don't feel that's the right thing to do as a human being. I don't feel that's the right thing to do.
No.
Then also, if you all decide, if you want to give her a 6-month average, 12-month average, that's fine. Just like I said, I personally do not feel comfortable giving her a $400 penalty and putting
No.
her in termination.
No,
I just
I don't think
don't,
anybody, I
so-
don't think anybody
you-
is sitting here thinking
Just
Yeah.
give
that
me
way.
some guidelines.
I
Just-
think you can tell the way the conversation's going is that we're just,
Yeah.
you know, we want to see what's
Okay.
happening before
So
Yeah.
she,
we're not gonna give her penalties. We're not gonna put her in termination if she doesn't pay. And you want me to give her an average of 6 months, 12 months? When we do a leak, if we do a leak adjustment, according to our SOPs, we do a 12-month average. So do you want me to do the 12-month average?
I
6
think that
months,
that would be
leave out all the
reasonable,
crazy
yeah.
numbers.
I think 12-month average is the way to go.
Yes,
Okay.
I think that
That's what
the
that's all
customer,
the information I needed.
Yeah,
Okay.
drop
Thank
the
you.
2 other ridiculous ones.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. That's what I needed from you all. And I'm sure she will be ecstatic with joy when I call her tomorrow morning and tell her. Thank you.
All right. Moving on. Chris, are you ready to give your report?
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, and this is the first time this has happened in the year that I've been here. Oh, and let me start out with this. This actually, I don't have the exact date, but this is my 10-year anniversary for working at Harper's Ferry.
Woo, woo.
Thank you. And it's also marks my first year of being a water superintendent. So just thought I'd bring that up. I apologize for not having getting you out a report like I normally do. Again, this is the first time this has happened to me, but I've just been too busy, and I just didn't have time to do it. I really tried, and I will give you what I got, and we'll take it from there. The water loss for the month of October was at 16.83%. We've repaired a major leak on Church Street. Too early to tell how this will affect our water loss, but it should help improve it. It appears our repair also dried up Lower Town, which is a good thing because we're having the winter months coming, and that was a major concern of the mayor and quite a few other people that you know, let's see what was going on. I wasn't sure if it was our water, you know, whose water this was, but it was obviously getting worse. I had heard a leak on this line that pretty much extends 100 feet. It's galvanized. It was hard to pinpoint where it was at, and it finally showed itself up on Church Street, and it affected all Lower Town. It was a high pressure main. Approximately 175 PSI, which is very dangerous. It was the first time that Chris Spanos and Sean and I did something like this alone. And we did very well. The guys did an excellent job. Thank God all the valves worked to shut this off prior to the guys going in and actually having to get right on top of it. But they Sean dug down there and was able to find where the leak was, and they hand dug and got it done. Great job. Sean is reading meters solar this week because Chris is terribly ill while I cover all the shifts, making this week and last week with the plant off during the day so Alvarez's crew could put a vault in next to our high pressure main. It took our tank levels to an all near low at 15 feet on Monday. As of 5 p.m. today, we are at 20 feet and climbing. I'm doing as many hours as needed to get up to safety range. I should have it up to 24 feet by Friday. I'm already comfortable where we're at. Our town approximately at this time of year uses anywhere between 4 to 6 feet, and more like 4 feet right now. Now that everything is back in order and the leaks are fixed, so I don't like the levels to get down to where we're down to approximately 2 days of water supply. I like to keep it up to between 3 and 4 days at least. And the sludge, the sludge machine, Oscar, we were kicking butt on that, and we'll continue to do that. It had a minor setback because we had cranes in our way last week and the beginning of this week, and right now we're reading meters. We'll have we had a delay, but it wasn't much, but we'll be back on schedule tomorrow. As far as resuming sludge repair. Let me see. That's I really don't have much more. We have so much other stuff to cover, and like I said, I didn't have a complete report, and again I apologize for that, but that pretty much covers what is going on right now. So that's all I have.
Okay. So we've been grappling with this sludge problem for quite some time, and you all should have received the 3 estimates that Chris has obtained regarding the pumping services, and they run the gamut.
Oh, we're doing that now? Okay. I
have an agenda, don't you?
Yeah, I apologize. I didn't realize that's on the next part. I apologize. I didn't see that.
So, and given the dollar amount, this is going to have to go out for bid. We'll do it as a request for request for a proposal, because they're coming up with the method, not us. We don't have engineering drawings to give them to show them how we want it done. We just want the stuff gone. So we'll be issuing an RFP for this, but first we have to recommend to the town council to do so.
Okay.
Given the where these people are located and the scarcity of companies in our area that do this, except for the ones we've already talked to, they will probably be the only proposals we receive. But the law requires us to bid it formally, which will go through the Budget and Finance Committee. Yes, Chris.
No, I was just going to say, so I checked with DEP today, and just made sure that we're covered as far as permits are concerned. What's great about this is the fact that we are taking this out of state. We're covered. It's And all bids so far are out of state. So we're good as far as that's concerned. That's all I have to say.
Okay, so, Deb,
So, reviewing these three presentations that we have, I guess when we get to this RFP process, we're going to have to ask for extrapolated numbers. I'm assuming that we will. I mean, we can't tell anything from what we've got.
Yeah.
So
The only thing I can
I'm
tell
just
you-
asking that if these companies are going to be able to do that.
I'm sure they do this for a living. I'm sure they.
I mean, I'm surprised that we don't have it here. That's my question. That's why I'm not getting
have
it.
any of these companies come out and assessed in person our sludge
Yes,
pit?
Commonwealth Disposal has come out. All three have received the lab that was done last year. But Commonwealth Disposal, the one for 30 cents to 35 cents a 1,000 gallons or per gallon, they've come out and physically grabbed their own sample to take to the DEP and have it tested. And
I'm less concerned about the DEP stuff. What we don't, the unknown that we have is we don't know for certain what our volume is. I mean, I did a rough calculation based on, with one big assumption based on the numbers we got from Hydrochem, just to kind of ballpark it. But,
and we went on the high side, and yeah.
Well, but, we were still.
I talked to
We
them.
didn't do the math with any degree of accuracy. And so when we're talking about what Deb's talking about here is, are they all going to be able to tell us reasonably close what this is going to cost at the end? And we could know because, volume is an ascertainable number, but we don't have the dimensions of the tanks or any of that kind of stuff. And
So-
when we pull this stuff, especially at the bottom of the most full tank, and with respect to the lower level tank, which is partially dried up, it's exposed on top. We're definitely going to have to add water to get that stuff into the truck.
Well, I talked with him today about that, as a matter of fact, and he said relatively that he's okay with the way it is. It shouldn't need relatively as much water as one would think. And 120,000 gallons is a very high estimate. That we're 2 feet below on one side of the calculation already, and we're well below on the other side. The Commonwealth Disposal, I have it at $36,000 for 30 cents, at 30 cents, and at 35 cents, it's at 42,000. I based the other one, and this is just a rough estimate, guys. I based the clean management.
Okay, wait 1 second here. I don't think we're supposed to talk about people's bids on a
Are
public
you
meeting.
not really?
These are just estimates. We've received.
Yeah, these are just estimates.
So I guess.
Okay,
the
I just,
question here
that's
is,
true, it's not a real bid.
right.
I see that.
Are these guys going to be able to give us a final number that we can make a bidding?
I don't think you can actually give a final
Okay.
number on the fact that you can't, you don't know how much sludge you're going to actually eliminate. You know what I'm saying? They can
Yeah.
give you what we can stop at any number. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying?
Deb
Okay,
has a question.
I asked the question initially. I did not anticipate a major discussion about it. The point that I want to make is that make sure, because I don't see this here, that these companies understand that they are going to have to give us some type of total estimate. We just cannot have an open-ended sentence. And
Okay.
so obviously there's variables involved, and they have every right to state them and to give us highs and lows based on variables, but we have got to have some kind of extrapolated number. Because
Okay.
not bid number, this HWH is $400,000. They're the only ones who extrapolated it. And now you've just talked about a number that's 10% of that.
I
from
know, right?
Commonwealth. And well, that's the point. And so we've got to make sure that they understand that they've got to nail this down on some fashion. That's the only point that I want to make. If it's going to go to RFP, like Bill's saying, we can put that in there, but we need to be making, I'm just trying to impress that we've just got to have some finite number that can be qualified in numerous ways.
Yeah,
But this is too much
you
of
know,
a range.
I really pushed to have these things pass through to get it just to this point for tonight. And it was, these guys have been working on this very hard to get you the numbers that we've already gotten you. So now I also wanted to do, guys, was get you the information, and we were going to talk about it tonight and see what was going on.
Okay, it's fine. I made my point.
I don't know what else I can do for you.
I just am that's the point that I made. I've made it. We can move on.
Okay. It would be helpful if we had the
Can I
ability
ask
to,
a question?
yeah.
Deb, is it true that you've never had an estimate that was based on this much for this, what we're doing here, and this much per that we pull out? So that it's based on what they actually have to pull out?
No.
Because I can understand there's no way of estimating the exact pullout of this.
I know, I understand that there's
No,
no
but that's
way
why I'm asking. I'm sure there are bids that are done based on this known thing and then a per whatever quantity amount for this unknown thing.
Okay,
I'm
and
sure that's been done.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, these people do this for a living. So I'm perplexed by the fact that one company gives us a total number on their piece of paper and another company.
Oh, they gave us a total which could be based on a bogus amount. I would much rather have it. I would much rather have an estimate that says our cost to deal with this amount, pulling it out, dealing with it, everything is cost this. Because I don't want to have to deal with having this enormous estimate and then finding out that the amount isn't anywhere near that. But we're going to be forced to pick that amount.
I think that's what I'm asking. I think that's what I'm asking.
I understand. No, what Deb has asked is takes into account that we don't know the exact volume. I think our ability to review the bids with some degree of confidence would, when the time comes, would be enhanced appreciably by having a better assessment of what our current volume is.
So what do you want me to ask them?
Well, I don't want you to ask them anything. I'd like to know what the volume of these tanks is. I don't know what the shape or measurements of the floor are or any of that. So we can have a more precise number.
12 feet on the other. Yeah, we know what the slope is.
Anyway.
We had the same thing. We had the same thing come up with the upper tanks. The estimate was way higher than what was actually drawn out of them, scooped out of them. It was way higher. What actually got scooped out was way lower.
Well,
the amount.
Okay, so
Okay.
but we're talking about a range of $360,000.
I know this.
So
I know this because those guys don't know how much is in there. So they had to do a huge amount. And I'm guessing that super high number, they're not interested in this. It's too complicated.
okay, well, that's possible. It's very possible. And they're far away. And so maybe that's another reason that their bid is very high. But the effect of $400,000 versus $40,000 on the water budget is massive. And we've got to get closer to reality, and we have to have something to work with. That's all I'm saying.
And most of that will be accomplished in how we word our RFP.
Okay, cool. Sorry, now we're getting somewhere.
I think that's how we'll have to address that.
Are you going to be writing the RFP, Bill?
Some of it probably, but we'll be addressing that with the ad hoc procurement committee, and we need
Okay.
to do that quickly. That's got to get turned around fast. So yeah, I may pull something out of my old pile of public procurement work and add the appropriate language. But because that's something we do need to do expeditiously. The sooner we can get that stuff out, the better, because once it gets really cold, we have a problem. Okay, so do I hear a motion that we recommend to the town council to promulgate an RFP for the removal of the sludge by tanker trucks?
I move that we ask the town council to produce a RFP that will cover the removal of the sludge from our what are they called?
They're actually they're backwash pits.
The
They're
backwash pits. Okay, the backwash pits.
Mhm.
I will second it.
All those in favor?
All right,
Aye. Okay, all those opposed? All right, the motion carries. Done with that. The next item is discussion and action on the repair of the plant compound gate. And I have a initial question here, because it's my understanding that Gutsky talked about folding this into the project. Is that no longer valid?
Well, so that would be eight months down the road. And I'm looking at a security issue. The one thing that right now we're able to get a we had it looked at and found out that we can replace the parts for relatively, $1,300 and have it done now by us.
Does it require welding?
I don't think so. I think it's all just replacement parts.
So can we do that
they're gonna
ourselves
replace the
without-
wheel. No. It's a heavy gate, Bill. It needs to be done by professionals. It's not. This gate is huge. And it's been a problem. We have tried to fix it ourselves and have failed. Alvarez has tried themselves when they came here, and their attempts have been in vain. And so we went out and got estimates. And right now I can't close the gate without worrying about it not opening back up again. It's eventually gonna lock on me with it not being able to open it back up. So it needs to be done.
I'd like to
go ahead.
I'd like to ask how it was broken, please.
A long time ago.
What does that mean?
Like before I got here.
So this has been.
This has been a problem. It hasn't worked right for a long time. It's just gotten to the point of worse. But with the cause of it, from my understanding, is that a tanker truck with Friendship Fire Department or one of them backed into it and caused a slight bend in it and started the whole episode. And it's just,
when was that? 10 years ago, are you saying, or is that something?
Yeah. It's sometime before I got here. Yeah, 10 years ago.
Okay, so
it's always been a problem since I've been here.
Okay,
It's
so
just gotten worse.
the fence has been malfunctioning all along, and it is now doubly worse because
It's finally,
it's just continued to deteriorate.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
And it
All right,
just,
well then-
it's reached its life, but
Okay.
we thought it was, the whole thing was gonna have to be replaced, and then we found out through estimates that through long fence and unfortunately.
Okay.
we're trying to
Well,
get-
I don't mean to cut you off there, Chris, but that answers my question. If
Okay.
from the water progress meeting last time, my impression was that whatever happened to the fence was a result of the project.
Oh,
If
no.
this is a result of our problem all along, why then we might as well just fix it. That's our responsibility. That's my opinion.
Right.
And
And
so-
it can be taken care of through our maintenance,
Yes.
the maintenance fund.
Yes, but from what I understood from the progress meeting before, it seemed to me that they were accepting responsibility for the problem because they said, let's put it in, it should be put in with your whole fence. But he was just suggesting, I suppose, if we wait that long, but if this has been a problem for many years that should have been fixed all along, then we need to fix it. My opinion, and I'll be quiet now. But
Yeah.
you answered my question.
Yeah, thank
Do you
you.
need a motion for this, or can we just do it with our maintenance? Where'd you
Well, I
go?
guess it's more than
Oh,
$500.
Do we need
sorry.
a motion, Deb?
Can I, is this gonna cost more than 500? Are we gonna, or do we need to
Yes.
get 3 different bids, or
Well,
we need to
I-
get 3
He's
companies?
got 2 here.
Yeah,
And-
we really tried to get others, and it's been, and Bill can contest to this, trying to get bids, man. Spanos has worked on this for weeks now. And we got 2 people to show up and
Okay.
bid on this.
So,
Okay.
Bill, do you have any other thoughts about it?
I other than that we go ahead and do it, you know, if it's really going to take 8 months for the guys that are on site with the equipment and who are doing concrete work anyway, because I assume there's going to be concrete work involved in resetting the post. It would be easiest if they could fold it into the project and do it as a change order to our project. But if they can't do it for 8 months, then that's too long to wait.
Yep.
My guess is that this is something that both, the one bid was what, 2,800 or? 20?
Yeah.
one bid is $2,530 and the other one is $1,800.
Okay,
Yes.
so really, it's preferred that we do competitive bidding, but we're not in the range that we would have to. We're at a point where this is part of our maintenance obligation. Do we need town council approval for this?
Yeah, I think we can go ahead with it.
Okay.
And
I don't-
it's security, and we are under $2,500 if we go with the 1,800 one.
Also.
Okay, so
Thank you.
I would like to know that 8-month time frame with the guys that are already on site is real.
Oh, the only reason is because they're gonna wait to do the whole, they have the whole fencing project that they're gonna be doing once they do the get everything done. So they have to wait until they, you know.
So we're getting a new fence anyway.
Yeah, we're getting parts of fences. You know, parts that need to be replaced and added to, like, I believe the clear well, you know, the new clear well. So it's going to be that's going to be fenced in as well. So that's going to be extended. You know, I don't know the exact design of the new fence. I can look at it and tell you, but I was going with what Eli was saying, you know, it's going to be quite some time before, you know, the fence is the last thing you're going to put up. It's like doing the asphalt, you know, in the parking lot. You know, you want to get everything done and then do the aesthetics.
Now,
So-
they're not gonna, if we spend $3,000 or $2,000 on fixing this gate, are we gonna be back? They're not replacing the gate as part of their fence project.
No, it's not. Unfortunately, it's not. And God, I wish it was, but I wasn't privy of this information prior to this. So
Okay,
Laurel has her hand up.
Laurel.
Okay, I was wondering, could you say again, what is this 8-month thing? What is the 8-month significance? 'Cause I missed that.
when I brought up, you know, that I would like to put it in with the, you know, the USDA loan, you know, it was brought to my attention that it's going to be at least 8 months before they're doing any sort of fencing. And that's because they got to work on, you know, they have construction going on all around here, and they need the areas open
Okay.
before they put any fence up.
Chris, would you say that we need to fix this gate for security reasons?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Okay,
They haven't taken down any of our fence yet, right?
No, we're secure other than my gate's open,
Okay. All right,
wide open.
So assuming that we can confirm that we're looking at an 8-month window and certainly not a month from now, then it seems to me that you have maintenance money in the budget. This is under $2,500. It's our problem. We created the problem. They didn't create the problem. I feel like we have to secure our property.
Thank you.
and of course, there's the whole element of when they can do this.
Right, that's
because
what I was
many-
just saying. So if we can just confirm that,
Yeah,
then I feel like I'm,
yeah.
do we have any idea with the two companies that we spoke with, do we have any idea how quickly they could get out to do it?
You know, it sounded like I didn't get to speak to Long Fence because I wasn't here, but I think they came on Saturday. But the other one sounded like they could do it relatively soon. So
Okay, because like my fence guys, like, you know, months behind because of the demand right now. But so that's a problem we may have with them too. So that's a question to ask. But yeah, we need to get it done.
I think the reason being is because it's not going to be as involved.
It's a small
You know.
project.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Can I make a motion?
I
Or
don't,
do we need to?
I don't think we require a motion.
Okay, then I won't do that.
Okay, discussion of purchasing utility bed for Dodge Ram. And I put Yusuf Chevrolet. Is the Tundra still being used, Chris?
I have that in the field, and that's going to be a discussion, another discussion in the future of what to do with it.
So the Tundra's still in the field.
Yes, I have that under lock and key and in another section of the property.
Okay, so it's not being used.
No, I would only use the Tundra in case of an extreme emergency.
Okay.
So-
Okay. So the concerns I had about this, because I was tried shopping for utility beds for the Dodge as well. And they don't, nobody really manufactures one specifically for the Dodge Ram 1500. Somebody makes one that's close and it's a full replacement bed. And those run between, depending on the material, between $7,000 and $8,000. The ones you have are camper tops. But when we purchased the Chevrolet, one of the complaints about the Tundra was that the camper top wasn't really sufficient for our intended use. And,
Well,
and wait, I'm not done. And the second part of that concern is, and I still think, you know, I believe we need to make the Dodge more useful. I'm not arguing with that. But the first question I have is, why are we not using Water Force One for the things that we would use the Tundra or the Dodge for?
so a utility, the Water Force One is large. It's designed for construction use and hauling the excavator. It has all the parts like the saws on it. It has the compartments to haul the big stuff, the generator, the pumps that are required for the jobs of construction. It is designed to do construction, like when we replace the broken meters that need construction, when we do the repairs that we just recently did up on Church Street. It was an excellent vehicle for that. A work order truck needs to be mobile and have small things in it, like so it can hold a meter for a meter change out, and just small parts like you know, for bottoms that bust on meters that changed out, for retro setters to put in new setters that can be locked. You know, a variety of just small odds and ends, and having something that is mobile, that can get around in these small narrow streets is especially when you're doing you know, 70 work orders in one day, trying to get work Water Force One through the streets of Harpers Ferry, trying to do 70 work orders would be damn near impossible.
Can I
And
interrupt for a second?
dangerous, because you'd probably take a chance of hitting something.
Chris, can I interrupt you for a minute?
Yes.
I'm sorry, but Water Force One, I don't know what that is.
Oh, Water Force One is the 3,500. Oh my God, I just lost.
It's
help
the
me out,
truck we
Bill.
bought this
Silverado.
year.
Yeah.
The big Chevy truck we bought.
The recent Chevy purchase,
Yes,
and you
Yes.
call it Water Force One?
Uh-huh.
yes.
Okay, I just never knew that. Okay, fine.
So- It was my understanding when we presented that to the town council that it would have a broader use than just construction. 'Cause
Well,
we don't.
no. But Bill, it's doing its job, and when we're at full capacity, we're with the extra guy, and we're running, and we don't have this construction around here, we'll be utilizing Water Force One continuously. You know, right? But you need, and any small utility, you need a truck, and having a cab on the Dodge Ram. The one at $2,600 is absolutely perfect for us. It has the compartments and stuff like that we need. And you know, it's almost identical to the Tundra's compartments. So all it is just a, you know, it's just easier to get around. And besides that, the gas mileage alone, and using Air Force One all the time would be crazy. When you have a 1,500 that can do the job for half the cost in the gas.
Well, but the Chevy's a diesel, is it not?
Yeah, but it's still what you driving around trying to do 70 work orders out of Air Force One would be very, very difficult and cumbersome. I'm just saying, you ask. I guess. To ask Sean which truck he would prefer to do 70 work orders out of would be more of a,
Well-
he's the one that's doing it all the time.
Well,
And-
I just,
and
I
they could give a
anticipated
better
that,
explanation, that's all.
okay. Well, is there not room on the Chevy for meter heads and meter parts and stuff like that?
There's, yes, it's the size of it, Bill. It's really big. It's like really long and getting down the streets, all the time driving it. It's designed for construction. It's designed to haul what we need it to haul. It's perfect for what we're and will be utilized. Trust me, it's only I'm just missing a guy, and once we get this construction out of the way and we have a working plant, Air Force One will be in full force. He has a lot of work ahead of him.
I want to just ask, so this is the first, I started thinking about what you're saying of putting a cap on the Dodge truck, right? We're
Mhm.
talking about, Wes, what we're talking about, putting a cap on the Dodge truck?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
I wonder, is there any immediacy to this request? Can I come to the plant and look at
Sure.
both these trucks and so that I can understand what you're,
You most certainly
asking
can.
for. I mean-
I think that would be an excellent.
I don't
and
wanna
for-
slow
for
it down.
everybody. Yeah.
I'm saying I don't want to slow it down, Chris, but I
No,
would like to.
no.
if
Matter of
it's
fact,
Sort of like
what
a
I-
picture is worth 1,000 words. I think I could understand it better.
What I would like to do is drive you an Air Force One or Water Force One and let you see what I'm talking about. And you can compare it and then drive you in the Dodge Ram on these back streets
Uh-huh.
and you can see when you're trying to get in a hurry and try to park in these awkward spots that Sean has to park in all the time. When you're trying to get stuff done, if it takes you 10 minutes to park Air Force One as opposed to 30 seconds to park the Dodge Ram, you're talking about a time factor when you're dealing with a lot of work orders.
Okay, what do the rest of you think? Can we
Deb's
table
got her
this?
hand. The Corporation of Harper's Ferry Seal has her hand up.
So I, assuming that you are going to move forward with this kind of a thing, and this is, you do have auto maintenance in your budget and you have enough room for it. And we would certainly be not throwing good money after bad like we would with the Tundra repairs. But, you are over $2,500. And so I would suggest if we can at least get one more online, just, an online publicized thing like this, to have 3 written, that would be the best. And then it could be, if you could even make a motion this evening saying that, with one more written bid, the commission approves spending up to X number of dollars for recommendation to council. It can be finalized then. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that I think you need one more written. It can just be an online printed thing.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's not a problem.
So we'll take that up again next month after Laurel's had a chance to look at the vehicles.
Fair enough.
Okay.
But okay, so on to financials.
All right, now we're on to financials. Okay, so we are looking at August numbers, which is 2 months of our fiscal year, 16%. We have the some of the expenses for the early detection warning system in that particular month's budget, but we don't have the income in. So once you balance that out by either taking the expense out or putting the income in, and you look at our income number, again, we are right at 16%. So that's really good. And the only other, and the early warning detection system is installed, and the grant request and reporting has been filed. And so I have received correspondence from the financial people at DHHR that, so as far as I know, it's processing, and we should be anticipating the reimbursement for that in the coming months. The only thing that's a little bit out of kilter in the expense area is that plant chemical thing, line 618.3, which we've been discussing. There's fluctuations in the market. And Chris, you were working, I noticed that some more invoices came in just the other day for plant chemicals, and so that's putting us over the,
Yeah,
getting pretty tight there. You had done some bidding work on that, where I didn't see any results of that. Where is that?
Oh, I had sent you out I had sent you out all that a month ago. I can resend it. I had the results of the it's approximately, it's looking like it's going to be an extra $200 per quarter, and
Okay. Well,
and
that,
I had the list broken down for you, down to the penny per pound.
okay, well, that's odd that I missed that, but apparently I did. So if you could resend it to me, that would be great. I'll look at it, and then we're going to have to see, we'll have to watch this
Okay.
in terms of flagging a budget revision. And anyway, that's any questions on the financials aside from that?
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
The legal fees, about the legal fees.
Legal
So,
fees.
to the law office of, to our water lawyer.
So you're on the P&L, the
Yes.
itemized, okay?
Yeah, I'm like that. I'm just wondering what was that for? And because some of what he does should be billed to the project instead of to our budget. Is that we sure that this should have gone-
Laurel, from this being that this was August and today is October 20th, I can't remember. I'd be happy to send you a copy of this invoice. Easily done.
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, if it is something that has to do with the project, then we charge it to construction and process, and I don't recall anything like that of late, but I'll check. I mean, that's a good point.
That's just, I just wanted to check and make sure. I don't know. I've never asked him, do you send invoices to the project, or how do you do that?
Well, when he sends in his invoices, he itemizes what he's talking about. And actually, I'd have to check about things having to do with the project and whether that does go to construction and process anymore. I got to double check on that because we're past the loan closing. So I will check, but in any event, he does itemize what he has been asked to consult on, and anyone who has had discussion with him is required to approve that time.
Okay.
Christie,
I'm just wanted to check on that to make sure it's
Sure.
going to the right place.
Christie has a question.
I have one on a totally different subject. I remember seeing something from Chris Eckenrode when I was having a wonderful time on my vacation about the, what do you call it? Whatever, Dave Dusky does.
RPR.
That he's gonna hit the amount of money in that was dedicated to that is gonna run out. That he's gonna run out, but they're still gonna need him. So,
Well, that doesn't
Go with
really
that.
have anything to do with this budget. This is your water operating budget.
well, it
and-
does, doesn't it?
Well, it may.
It's gonna be not, it wouldn't come out of the loan. Because we don't pay him out of the loan, do we?
Yes,
Well,
he's
yeah.
employed by the loan.
Absolutely. He totally comes out of the loan. And I mean, that's what gets the billing on the invoices on every resolution that we've done that come to GDNF are
Oh, right,
for,
right. That's
yeah.
true, but the loan only covered the amount. I mean, you had the whole thing, Christ, how's that worded? I mean,
Okay,
does it,
so
does it more than what we had envisioned?
I see where you're going.
Yeah, okay, that's
The
all I want to
memo-
know, is how that gets answered.
Okay, I'm trying. The email that Chris Eckenrode sent
Yeah.
said that he thought that additional monies for those costs would have to come out of the contingency money. And we
Okay.
have,
That's part of the loan
asked-
thing? That's part of the loan contingency?
there's contingency money that's sitting there
Yes,
in the loan.
I know.
yes.
Okay, that's all you know.
So
Thanks.
I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but I'm saying that was his suggestion, and we have asked for clarity on that, and we have not received answers. So
Who would answer that?
I believe we've asked Toy about that, but we've not received a response.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah, and hopefully it doesn't get to a point that it needs to affect this budget, because that would be really rough. Yeah, okay. So are we good now with the
Yes,
finances?
yes. Thank you, Deb. Do you want to, we've got discussion and action regarding customer monthly auto pay application in
Yep.
Kuzi.
Right, so you should have received a bunch of attachments. The one that I'll refer to is the summary. You have backup bids, all the summarization of that is all included on the spreadsheet that I sent. So that's the one I'm going to talk off of. From last month's meeting, Angie and I met with the representative from Kuzi and went through in great detail how these two modules operate and what we would need to do in order to put them into place. And I believe Angie was pleased with what she heard and felt like they would be very beneficial and that our customers would utilize them, and that we would be saving a lot of time in terms of office work that needed to be done because of not having to handle payments, as well as not having to worry about the details of posting them. And because this would all be handled automatically. And so you have before you, and I'll just review each what they are and then tell you about how much they cost. The bank check elimination module is the one that will take checks that someone who is operating with the bank other than BCT, and probably also the BCT checks that someone sits on their computer and says, okay, I want my bank to pay Harpers Ferry Waterworks $77.08 for this month's bill. What happens with those checks is that that bank generates a paper check and it comes in the building and we process it as a manual check. We have to look up, make sure the account number is right. We have to find out what the split is between when we have to process it manually. So in Kuzi, we determine what the split is between water and sewer, and then we have to make a deposit of that. So there's a lot of handling. Angie and I figured that it takes probably between the two of us an average of 3 minutes per check to handle each check that comes in, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you add them up over a month, it's a lot of time. And not to mention, if there's any mistakes or anything, then you've got a whole nother animal on your hands. But also we currently use Mars to process things that come from BCT. And this should also scoop that up so that we would be doing all things through this one process. And the module itself requires, it costs $1,040 at the outset. We still have that credit of the Scion reader that never got delivered. That's $2,995. So if we were to take the credit, $1,040 out of that, it wouldn't cost us anything. The ongoing charge, if we made that purchase on that level, it would be $40 a month and 15 cents per check. So I kind of did a little bit of study as I was processing checks this past month, and I looked at the Mars transactions that we had, and I came up with, on the really conservative side, an average of 225 checks that we could use to say, how much money would this save us? and how much would it cost on an ongoing basis? So for 15 cents a check, a total of 225 checks in a month, that's $33.75. So it would cost us $75 a month. That comes out to $900 a year. And if you take an average wage between Angie's wage and my wage, and you apply 3 minutes per check on that, and you use $225 checks a month, that comes out to about, to process those checks, it costs about $300 a month. So that's $3,600 in a year that we feel like we could come close to saving. And so that's good news. For the option B, Kuzi has a option where they would not require us to pay an upfront module fee. So that would leave us $2,900 on our credit, but the cost per check from now till the end of time would be 50 cents a check as opposed to 15 cents a check. So if you look at that, it would also waive the 40 cent per month fee, but that ends up actually costing us more money, a little bit more money, $112. So those are for this item, we would need to choose either A or B.
It's, I was wondering, okay, so the 225 checks, that there's an average number of checks that we receive. Does that include the MERS?
Mm-hmm. It includes Mars. Yep. And what this will do is it'll pull it in and it will post it right to Kuzi. And we won't have to really get involved, except once a day, Angie will make that function. Now, at the outset, there will be some hurdles to get through. Every check that we acknowledge to come in, we need to go through a little approval process and make sure it matches up to the account and all that kind of stuff. So there'll be some work in the beginning, and whenever anybody signs up for it or wants to utilize it, there'll be a little bypass work. But as soon as you do it the first time, then you don't have to mess with it.
And this is when a customer uses bill pay at their bank.
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
So that's 225 every month,
including Mars, mm-hmm.
including BCT.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I just have a basic question, because right now I have my bank pay more than what I know my bill is. So every month, and then that date comes every about 8 months, I just pay what it's owed. But does this mean that I don't have to worry about what that amount is, or I set the amount? Because it varies. The monthly amount varies.
We have the option to, well, you control how much that check is, because you're going to still be either telling your bank automatically send $100 every month, or you're going to be going to your bank at the bill pay and saying, okay, my bill this month is $156.
Okay, so it's kind of the same for me then, but it's cheaper.
Same for
It will
the
be the same
customer.
for you. Mm-hmm.
But cheaper
We
for-
are not, as opposed to the next thing we're going to talk about.
Okay.
Waterworks is not initiating any action as to how much money is paid.
Yeah.
This is just,
Okay.
right.
Right.
Did I cover everything okay on that, Angie? Are you good with what I'm saying there?
Yes, I am. I agree with you. And I know where Christy was going with that. And yes, she's up on the next thing, which I
Right.
think she'll be very excited to hear
Yeah.
about.
So,
So yes, you covered that very well. Thank you.
Angie, I have a question for you. So
Mhm.
right now you get an email from Bank of Charlestown, and
Mhm.
it's got a list
Okay.
of everybody who paid with that, and you take that list and you enter it one at a time into Kuzi, right? And so this would-
Correct.
so if we had this, you would not be doing that anymore. Is that correct?
Correct. It would, my understanding is that it would be sort of like my folks that pay with credit cards. I go in the morning, I click boom, boom, bam, done. And it's all done. Everyone it just comes into the system all at the same time. I don't have to worry about it. But
You don't
when
have
go
to
in-
enter it individually.
Nope.
You
it all
probably have to,
uploads.
you run something
Everybody
that
uploads.
collects it,
Mhm.
you run something
Yep.
that collects it but it's like
Yeah.
it's a one single operation.
That is
Okay.
correct.
It
It
does
doesn't
the
matter if
posting.
it's,
Yeah.
yes, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if it's 2 people or 20 people. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It doesn't take me any more time. It's
Yeah.
just that easy peasy. And
Okay.
with the, if you bank with BCT, then yes, I get a printout of who paid what yesterday. I've got one right now on my computer for who paid today. So tomorrow morning when I get in, I'll print it off and I have to hand entry every one of those in. Like I said, it could be 2 people, could be 20 people. I don't know. Bills are due on Friday. So probably be pretty hefty.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But
Mhm.
the cool thing is all that posting work comes out of the equation, which is really nice.
Yes.
So what's left is the people that do not pay by, so then you still are dealing with people at the window. You have people
Mhm.
sending in checks, mailing them in, or
Mhm.
you still have to do those.
Mhm. Those are all still
So
done
cash
manually.
and other checks, but it takes care of all the bank checks, which might be
Mhm.
increasing anyway. That might be an increasing number of people.
Well, we
a large
believe,
amount.
Angie and I have discussed that between this module that we're talking
Mhm.
about right now and the next module we're going to talk about. We kind of feel like we're going to reduce that load of checks and cash that have to be handled by hand to it's certainly half, and if not maybe even a third of what we've got. What do you think, Ange?
Well, and not only will it reduce our workload, which is wow, amazing, but the best thing about this thing that we're getting ready to talk about is I can't tell you how many customers be like, ugh, I pay all my bills online. Why can't I just, why don't you just automatically bill me and automatically take it out of my account? Because I'm busy, I work, I have a family, I'm traveling, I do this, I do that. So that's coming up
Okay.
next, which is really good.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the other one, and then you guys can make, if you want to make a motion, you can do it for both or each separately, but at least you have the full scope of what we're talking about here. So the second one is called an ACH module. That's automatic check handling, I think. Honestly, forget what the acronym is, but essentially that is where we have a paper agreement with a customer on file that says that they have allowed us to make a pull from their bank account that they designate one time a month. We will designate the date, and it will be for the full amount of their bill. We could also set it up to be a certain amount. Like if it was a fixed dollar amount, we have some parameters that we can work with there, which we don't have to make that decision right now. But let's say in the case of like what Christy was saying, she wants to pay $100 a month, we may be able to set it up to do that as well. But the key thing is that this is a file. Once we have an agreement from, let's say 10 people, once a month, when we decide what day of the month we're going to do that on, Angie's going to generate out of Kuzi a file that I am then going to send to the bank, and the bank will run it through and make sure there's no hiccups in it. And then on the designated day, that will be initiated and go out and collect all that money from all those bank accounts, and it will come back and it will dump it into our bank account in one chunk. And we will get then one report back in that says all these people have paid and all that money's been posted. And so this is the auto pay option that everybody's been talking about. We will set the date. It probably will be somewhere around the middle of the month so that we can get the timing right to make sure that nobody had a problem with insufficient funds, everything went through, and we still can put into place things like penalties and terminations if we need to. So that's why when you talk about the timing of it, it's not going to be on the due date of the bill. It's probably going to be back
in the middle of the month. But all that would be in the agreement that we keep on file with anyone who chooses to do this. There is no cost to the customer, and the app itself costs $1,000, and there is no ongoing cost to us. We will need to go in order to get it set up. We will need to do a test with BCT once we get the file format out of Kuzi. We'll send that to BCT, have them look at it. If they feel like it's good, then we're going to need some guinea pigs. So me, I'll volunteer, get a couple other people, y'all right here can volunteer, and we'll just run through, maybe like 10 people to try it and make sure that we don't have any other hiccups. And then we can have people sign up. You can put an insert in the bill, you can have it on the website, and we can start to get people signed up on that program. So we feel like that is really going to, between that and the other program, we're going to eliminate, we have an 850 customer base. We feel like close to 500 people are going to be on that. And that will really give us a nice monthly savings and annual savings. What do you concur, Ange, with that estimation?
Well, there are just two things that I want to say, because I feel like I'm kind of preaching to the choir a little bit. But number one, this is going to both of these options are going to be so much more convenient for our customer, and they are going to be so much more accurate than what we're doing right now, because it takes us out of the equation. And the consumer, my customer, they're the ones that they get to say that how much they pay, and pretty much when they pay it, with the exception of the ACH, but they'll know well in advance when we expect the funds to be there. So I just wanted to say that, because I am all on board for this. This is something my customers have been asking for years. And I think with the way technology is moving, I think that we need to move technology forward as well. So that's all I had to say.
So both of these are going to take a little bit of time. I mean, once you all make a motion and approve what you want to do with this, then that needs to go to council. And then I would suggest that we take on one of them at a time, not both of them at the same time.
True.
So, I think we're probably looking at the end of the spring to maybe be getting them both kind of in pretty smoothly, but maybe over the winter we can grab one, and then, February, March, grab the second one and try to start working with it. So, yeah.
Okay, can I ask a question? So, so the ACH has a cost of 1,000, but is no cost to the customer?
Correct.
And it's a one-time cost of 1,000 to us?
Correct.
Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And so if we start that first, a lot of people might stop writing checks and they might do the ACH. So we might, it might reduce the amount of checks from the banks, and that might actually change that equation for that one.
That's
that's a good point. That's a good way to approach it. I mean, if we get that up and going, and wow, all of a sudden half of our people are doing that, maybe the bank check elimination thing isn't even, maybe we don't need to do it. I mean, I think the ACH, I don't know, I think it's going to be a personal preference with the customers, but you're right. If enough people are asking about it, and then we might as well try that one first. I think that makes a lot of sense.
I don't see any reason not to do it. Does anybody? It sounds, it's got all the safeguards that's supposed to have, if, that's the concern.
Yeah.
Of course.
And we're already set up with our bank to handle ACH payments. So that's a big piece of the puzzle that if we weren't, that would be a whole nother thing. But thankfully we are, and I already have initiated some of that. And so that's good. And if you do make a motion, please include whether or not you want to pay for the module using the Scion credit that we have. It's the only other piece.
Okay. So do I hear a motion?
I can make a motion to recommend, I make a motion that we recommend that we purchase from Kuzi this ACH package for $1,000, that we would pay for it with the funds from the Scion, our return Scion project. I'm not saying the right thing.
Credit.
The credit, exactly. That's the word I'm looking for. Pay for it with the credit from our return Scion reader.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. Okay. And we want to consider the bank check elimination module, or are we just going to go with ACH? Does that solve the bulk of your concerns?
Can I ask Laurel to send what her motion was? Because if she's gonna want to have it, I need to have the exact words.
Okay, I'll try that again.
You know, I
I don't
know,
want to
Angie,
listen
what-
to the recording. I don't want to listen to the
Yeah.
recording. It's too much work.
That's okay. So I made a motion that the water utility purchase the ACH module from Kuzi, that money come from our credit from the Scion reader that we returned.
Okay, just using our credit.
Yeah.
That's it? Okay, good. Thanks.
So regarding the second half of where do you want to go with the BC module at this point, you know, I think more Laurel, I don't know, Angie, I defer to your thoughts as well, but I kind of feel like, you know, Laurel makes a good point, and maybe we certainly are not going to tackle them both at one time. So maybe we get the first one going and then we report back to you in the spring how we're doing. And if we feel like the BCE is also still beneficial, we handle it at that time. What do you think?
I think I think that's good. You know, my first thought when you were like, well, we don't want to do them both at the same time, I was like, oh, come on. But yeah, no, we don't. No, we really don't want to do them both at the same time. No. So yes, I will agree with Laurel's recommendation that, yeah, we try the ACH first, because I think we probably will get more takers for that. And then if we feel there's a need for the other, then we'll do that one. That's good.
Okay.
We can revisit it in a couple of months.
Yeah.
Right.
Fair
Okay.
enough.
All right.
Great.
All right. Thank you, Deb.
Yep. Thank you.
And we are,
I see a smile on Angie's face.
When my customers are happy, I am happy. And I think this will make them happy. So
yeah, I can imagine you get a lot of requests for this stuff.
I do. I really do. Because like I said, the way technology is moving and everybody's busy, and I've said this in the past, but the grand majority of my customers who end up on my termination list, it's not that they can't or don't want to pay, it's they forget. So I think this will help them remember and take that off of their plate.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, yeah, so that's why I'm happy. If they're happy, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, the old business of the Bolivar representative selection. As you all know, Marie took herself out of consideration. So Bolivar has restarted their search and anticipates presenting us with someone no earlier than November, and they hope that they'll have somebody by November. So that's where we are on that.
I need to tell you that my term runs out on December 31st, and I'm not planning on asking to be re-upped.
Correct. And which is, I'm going a little bit out of order here, but we also need to, we should have a full complement, and whether you re-upped or not. And so we need to be working on identifying folks in the community in Harpers Ferry as well that would be good commissioners and, you know, folks that we could con into joining us on this adventure. We kind of tend to fish in the same small pond. It's a small town, so it's hard, you know, we always end up with sort of the same cast of characters. But if we could start throwing a little bit wider net and see if there's some other folks that we haven't seen on our boards and things like that, that we might be able to convince to join us. I think that would be helpful for our mission. But we also have a new business item regarding an employee pay adjustment, which may require executive session. But first, this is your request, Chris.
Yes, well, it's, I guess can I mention by name? It's
No, I think if you're gonna, wait a second
know.
here. We should go into
Into
executive session.
executive session, yes.
But I'd like to ask first, do we have, I didn't see anything in the packet regarding a performance review or any kind of.
And you're absolutely right, Bill. Because the situations that have happened in the last unforeseen, I've been just way too busy to prepare correctly, and I think I'm gonna have to wait till next month. I haven't discussed with Deb any of the financials, and I'm just not organized enough here.
Okay. Well, we can revisit that when you have you know.
Yeah, I'll be much
gotten
more.
all that sorted. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. It just
That's okay.
I had to focus on maintaining the quality of the water. You know, that's what it came down to.
I would agree with that completely. Okay. Well, if that's the case, then we're through our agenda. Is there any public comment, Deb?
I don't see any. Hang on a second. I will double check here. No.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Oh my God.
Well, if one of y'all doesn't make it, I will. No.
Right?
I will move that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All
Aye.
those opposed? All right. Thank you,
Angie,
everyone.
you opposed? You got something to say, Angie?
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Good night.
See you tomorrow.